What up? What up, my guys? Welcome to another show, man. It's NBA Talk with Jay Money and the Shark. You know what it is? It's Wednesday, February 2nd, 2022, man. Trying to get some cash like every day. My guy, Shark. What's up with you?
Taking a breath. 5 p.m. on the East Coast. Happy hour hoops. We are live. We are ready to dominate. Beautiful day here on the East Coast. We hope everybody's having a great day. As Jay said, February 2nd, 2022. 9-game card. A lot of angles, a lot of looks, leans, and top plays. Jay Money, let's dominate.
Let's get into it, guys. First game up, we got the Magic versus the Pacers here, going to the streets of Indiana. Here's Shark. You liking some in this one?
I am. First of 3 official plays. Hold your nose, maybe not. Indiana Pacers first quarter -1. What you're looking at here is a very specific dynamic with the Orlando Magic on road back-to-backs. Very, very inefficient in the final leg, first quarter specifically, and not coincidentally, 0-3 in this position against the Central. Go back to early season, cover at Toronto, the next night at Detroit, lost first quarter, lost game, both non-covers. Slightly later on, cover at Brooklyn, very next game, Milwaukee, blowout first quarter. Slightly later on, night 1, Chicago Bulls, night 2 at Cleveland. Non-cover first quarter, non-cover game. And what do you get here? You get them off a real nice first quarter last night in Chicago, a real competitive game, ultimately a backdoor, which they had no business not covering that, but really a representative effort. And you get Indiana coming in here where they function very well. Indiana plays very poorly in the first quarter on the road, and they play very well first quarter at home against all opponent types. All boxes checked. Indiana first quarter -1, 1 unit.
I like it, my guy. I like it. Let's go over here to the streets of Philadelphia now, Shark. We got the 76ers going up against the Wizards. Obviously, the Wizards played last night versus the Bucks in a tough game. They lost Thomas Bryant. Gaffer's back in there now due to an injury. So we'll see what happened in this one. Obviously, Embiid should be back in theory in this game after resting up. You liking some in this spot?
No, I think this is going to be a really tough spot, actually. If you go back, the last 3 matchups between these two teams were played in Washington. So we're a little bit dated efficient in recent history. But if you go back last year, actually, the opener, 12/23/2020, a long time ago it was. A game was played in Philadelphia between these two teams. Line was -7.5. Philly won the game by 6. A second home game was a line 5.5, 6 that finished at 5. What they're telling you here, this is going to be razor sharp. And Washington does come in here on an L6. And as much as we say they're supposed to crater, Jay, we've talked about this all year, they were so far above. Now, actually, I think they're getting to a point where they might have a little bit of a buyback effect to get back to their long-term average. And we do see them show up in some of these spots. Philly here is in a tough spot. It's the last game of a homestand. They're 4-0 straight up on the homestand. They come in here having played a few against the West. They get effectively a one-off against the East. Then they go on the road for a primetime national game against Dallas, I believe, in their next game. It's just a brutal spot for Philly. I think Philly should get there to win, but we've seen Philly all year at home on these numbers, 10, 10.5, 11. Razor sharp, sweaty down the stretch, backdoor potentially wide open. This is a tough game for me to cap.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not laying the 10.5 with the 76ers. You always worry about their motivation. Could they come out here and smack this Wizards team up? They could, but I always worry about them. I always go back to them being down by 11 points to the Magic. Mo Bamba hit like 6 or 7 threes in that first half, but we've seen it time and time again, even versus the Kings as well. They came out lackluster and didn't have to come back and win the game by 2 points. So I don't trust the 76ers in uninspiring spots, especially at the house. When they go on the road, they smack up whoever. But at the house, they just tend to let down. Shark make a good point with them having the Mavs on deck and that one, guys. Let's go over here to the streets of Boston, man. We got the Hornets here versus the Celtics. My only play of the day, the Celtics today, my guys. -5, -6. I like this to be a smack city spot. The line is all over them. And in the last, it's a revenge game as well. Everything is flipping in this one. The Celtics are playing nice this time around. Now they're balling. The quotes are there. The Jaylen Brown's taking leadership of a team. They're saying they're having talks at halftime. Hey, look, let's come out here and smash these guys in the third quarter. Let's not be messing around here. So the Hornets, they have a good offense. They had 2 days off rest, guys. They have the rest advantage. Anything can happen. Their offense can get hot, right? They can hit for 3. But in this game, I like the Celtics in this one, man, to run these guys off the floor. They can run and gun with the Hornets, and they can play some half-court defense as well. Revenge spot, line all over them. And this time around, they'll have Robert Williams III and Marcus Marcus Smart, which is huge in this matchup. Give me the Celtics in this one, Shark.
Yeah, no, it's the absolute top look in this game. If you go back over the last couple matchups, as Jay suggested, the line has told a decent story. The first one of the year was a 3rd and 4 road back-to-back for the Celtics, which they won 140 to 129 in overtime. That was a short-ish number for Boston at -2 there. Of course, they did get there in overtime, so technically that was a non-cover over the first 48. Then it came back short, -3. It should have been 5, and they did lose 111 to 102, going back a couple weeks to Charlotte. And now we always talk about this. It's 3, you lose outright, and it opens at 4.5. They're telling you a great story here. Boston should clean them up. Boston's been great at home in the last 12 games. Boston plays great defense at home. That's another key point. And if you really go back to the schedule scaling here a little bit, Charlotte just played one of their worst games of the year against the Clippers, which of course burned us on Sunday afternoon in a matinee. However, go back to the previous Sunday. Jay also had that correctly. Atlanta Hawks went in there and hammered them on a Sunday. And then Charlotte went on the road in their very next game on a weeknight off a couple nights of rest and got hammered by Toronto by 12. And so I don't think this is just an auto bounce back spot for Charlotte. I think Charlotte is cratering to a certain degree, and I think Boston is absolutely turning up. Revenge game, line number, and schedule scaling dynamic. I see this game playing similar to how they played at the Raptors. I think Boston gets there by 10 to 12 points, so I completely align with you here.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, my guy. And the last thing that I had to say about this one, the Celtics sitting at 9 right now, whereas the Hornets sitting at 7. If the Celtics win this game, they basically catapult themselves ahead, sitting at the 7. Then the Hornets drop down to 9. So, and that's exactly what I see happening. This team is catching a stride. I said it last game as well. We'll be betting the Celtics here going forward. I looked at it, and all honesty, if they really wanted to catch a win, they could literally go on a 10-game winning streak here. I looked at it. They have some winnable games here up on deck. So I see the Celtics. We should make some money with these guys here in the next couple of weeks. Hopefully it starts tonight like the Celtics. Let's go over here to the streets of New York here, Shark. We got the Grizzlies versus the Knicks. You liking some of this game?
I am. On a suddenly not so casual winning Wednesday, February 2nd, 2022. Buy hat is engaged. Situational environment. Memphis first quarter -1. And what are you looking at here? You're looking at Memphis on the road in the first quarter, flip-flopping wins and losses, flip-flopping blowout wins and blowout losses. I'll take you back to last game. They came out ultra flat, 39-30 Philly against Philadelphia in the road game 1 against the East here, where ultimately Philly did not have their full team. Memphis came out with no energy, no defense, nothing. Go back to the previous road trip. They came out at Milwaukee in the first game of that sequence and came out with almost an identical first quarter. 36-30, almost the exact same score. And in the very next game, they went to Denver, came out focused, committed, ultimate, ready to dominate, and banged them. Next game, they came into Dallas and got hammered in the first quarter, first half trifecta. Next game in San Antonio, an absolute blowout. Take it back to last year. Knicks did beat them twice. You get a double revenge game for Memphis. John Morant will want to come to the Garden and show out. In the Garden last year, the Knicks did win. It came late. Memphis did win the first quarter by 8 points last year. Memphis should come out here, ESPN national game, ready to go. First quarter, 1 unit, -1.
Yeah, I like it. That's a good point. Steven Adams still game time decision, but regardless, here the Grizzlies should definitely come out hot, guys. So I know that a lot of people hopping on the Grizzlies today, full game bounce, but I couldn't talk you off. Like I still lean that way. Just something that I end up staying off of. Me just waiting for Steven Adams, but you definitely make some good points with that first quarter, my guy. Sounds like that's the spot in this game, man. Top spot. Let's cash it. Let's go over here to the streets of Houston here, Shark. We got the Cavs versus the Rockets. Obviously, the Cavs without Darius Garland, not necessarily the same as with him out there. He still got Mobley, still have Allen. It'll be tough to score on these guys in the paint, but Rockets kind of showed us some last game versus the Warriors. They were in that game before KPJ obviously pissed off Curry and he started going off on them. But if the Rockets play with that fight, they have a little squash. Just sometimes like they really get down on themselves and they get mad that they're not getting calls and literally can get blown out any night. That's why it's so tough for me to bet their games. You like anything in this one?
No, I think this is going to be razor sharp. It is, of course, very short. Cleveland did hammer them at home by 30+. So you get the revenge game, you get a short number, but I do think we've seen this before. The game in Oklahoma City where the Cavs did lay 5 points. Of course, you had Oklahoma City that day, and they backdoored the hell out of it. It was disgusting. But I think that's where you're going to get your outcome here. and I think it's going to be right around 5 points. I could see this game actually ending on 5. I think you're in a razor-sharp environment here.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm staying so far away from that game. We got the Thunder here versus the Mavs. We got the Mavs laying 12. In theory, bounce back spot coming off that loss versus the Magic. They've had a few days off rest. I could only look towards the Mavs in this one. Obviously, the Thunder coming off a big win. This is one of the few teams I don't think they'll back up success with success. They could be competitive in this game, and I'll be honest, I don't necessarily trust my Mavs in this point range, even though I think they'll win by 20. Just for me having to lay the 12 with them, I'm not necessarily doing it. Still a heavy lean that way. I just didn't get there. Shark, you like something here?
This is tough. I mean, we have a lot of information. This is the 4th matchup of the year between 2 divisional opponents. It doesn't get any better than this in a calendar year in the NBA. First matchup of the year was a Dallas blowout, and then the line got inflated to 10.5, and they won the second one by 9. Of course, the most recent one, they won in a very tight fashion, I believe by 2 or 3 points. So you come in here, you get an 0-2 sequence coming in an inflated line. The previous line, again, when they were at 10.5, finished at 9. Similar to what I said about the Bulls and the Magic yesterday, just based on dispersion points having nothing to do with basketball. When you're 0-2 and you didn't cover the first inflated spread by a point, theoretically, when they readjust it to 1 point higher, this should come in at a Dallas position. If I had to take a free play, I would lean Dallas by 12 to 15. It's going to be sharp. It's going to be brutal. Of course, I did buy Oklahoma City in the previous game correctly. I don't necessarily think they're going to sustain that type of basketball here within the division. Dallas is in a tough position, too. I think it's a sharp line, but free play, I would take Dallas here.
Exactly, and that was one. Go back to the Sixers possibly looking ahead to their next game with the Mavs. It's the same thing here. When I looked and saw that they had Sixers next, I was like, I can't just automatically expect them to blow them out. Although I did say yesterday, I was saying the Mavs they're going to smack the Thunder up next game. So it's not the first of a back-to-back. Mavs should still get there. It's just it's tough for me, man, because I know that the Thunder got a lot of young ballers. They're not the same on the road, and they are still without SJ as well, but they do have some young ballers over there, man, but not a lot of rim protection as well. So I know a lot of people may be betting the under. If I'm liking the under, I like Thunder team total under. So staying away from that game, though, Short. We got the Jazz. We're going to the streets of Utah now. Nuggets versus the Jazz, man. 6 game and 9 nights for the Nuggets. You see Gordon. I said it on the early show. You see Gordon and Jokic pop up on the injury tag. Why would they play in this game? You see Jokic still in the game. They're down 27 points. He's still out there with 4 bench players. Like when I saw that, I say Jokic is probably not playing tomorrow. Back to back in altitude. 3rd game in 4 nights. Like I said, 6-9. Last game of a road trip, man. I don't want to buy the Jazz right now, but it's the only way that I can look in this game, Shark. But I don't feel comfortable with it.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with everything you said. You want to buy the Jazz off an elongated losing streak, but this is a double revenge game for Denver. Denver's lost 3 in a row dating back to last year. Denver needs to compete in this position versus the Jazz better. But again, 3rd and 4 back-to-back, and as you mentioned, 6 and 9 or something ridiculous? I mean, this is an insane fatigue spot. You could almost default take the Jazz just purely based off the fatigue factor. Again, I'm not playing this. I think this is going to be potentially sharp, 3.5, getting inflated a little bit. I think this could come down to the wire on this number. It's just not what I'm trying to gamble on here.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I don't think it doesn't matter what I think. So we'll see, but we do see them pop up on the injury report. And like I say, would it be in the fatigue spot? I wouldn't be surprised if Gordon and Jokic sat out in this game. But what I'm saying is, even then, I don't know if I could trust the Jazz, man. So I don't have to bet the game, so I'm staying off. Let's go over here to the streets of Sacramento. We got the Nets versus the Kings here. Nets obviously in need of a big win, man. They coming off that loss versus the Suns last night. Face a much easier task, much easier defense tonight, Shark. You like something here?
Yes, let's try this again. Yesterday, this did not work very well, but you know what? You don't run from a good idea. Official play, Nets first quarter -1.5. And what you're really looking at here specifically is Sacramento off a long road trip. Off-road games coming home game 1, dating back the last 2 months. They had played a lot of home games, but coming off a road game, 0-4 first quarter against the spread. Take you back to a J Money Sharks special. Clippers at Sacramento, trifected them against a couple other ones. Hawks, Cavs, and one other one. A very specific one. Washington home game off of an Eastern trip and a blowout loss. to the Raptors. They come in here off an Eastern trip of multiple games and a blowout loss to the Knicks. And Brooklyn has to come out here better. Brooklyn has been lackluster the last two first quarters. Of course, we talk about qualifiers. Dubs and Suns, top two teams in the league. That is not Sacramento. It is not Sacramento off a trip. Top graded position here, -1.5, first quarter, 1 unit.
Yeah, like it makes a lot of sense as well. I know a lot of people want to auto hop on Nets, but with it being a back-to-back, wouldn't be surprised if they ran out of gas. But in theory, should be a Nets trifecta spot. Like see them coming out high up by double digits, and if they want to get off that loser streak, like I always say, they need a confidence boosting win and opponent, and that's what they get here in the Sacramento Kings, man. So should be a trifecta spot by the Nets here. I like the look, Shark. Last game up, we got the Lakers going to the streets of LA, man. Lakers versus the Blazers. You like something here, my guy?
This is a tough spot. This is really, really tough. Of course, LeBron James is still out. Lakers come back here off a road trip. You get a Portland revenge game. The line functionality here has mattered this year. And I always talk about it. When it matters, you can throw out any players in and out of the lineup because they're telling you the average tells you the story. You go back early season, Portland hammered the Lakers 105-90 on a -5. And then Portland came into crypto.com and it flipped all the way to Lakers 5.5. A 10.5 point window should be 3. And they blew them out, just out the building. 139-108 or 106 or something ridiculous. But now here's your issue. When they have 5.5 and they win by 30 plus, and it comes in shorter at 4, it's what we were talking about with the Charlotte-Boston environment, where Boston was 3, lost, and then it came up to 4.5. This is Lakers 5.5 blowout, comes down to 4. And I mean, we talk about Portland. Portland has found some sort of new win. Of course, we did fade them correctly at Oklahoma City, but that was a 3rd and 4 back-to-back flying across the country in a really uninspiring sandwich spot between Chicago and LA. If I had to take a free play here, I am taking Portland. I think Portland keeps this close. I think 4 is going to be real sharp. I think Lakers probably win this game by like 2 points or something like that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. That's that game there, man. It's a couple teams that I can't trust either way. I can see anything happening. Obviously, Lakers, they've been losing as well. So I mean, they're due to come up as well. So no LeBron out there, but you should have AD, the rest of the guys. It's tough. That Blazers bench, man. Oh man. But let's get to some free plays here, Shark. Every single day, we're giving out free picks, guys. Hit the like button, subscribe, hit the share button, man. Go rate the podcast, all that good stuff. Shark, what we like today?
3 top plays, 9 words of lifestyle, ride the wave down the water. 3 first quarter plays. And I talk about this all the time. Sometimes the game lines just purely become razor sharp and gambles. And that's not what we're trying to do here. We're trying to find sharpest looks possible. In that case, you go through the schedule and you see why teams play in certain energy windows, quarter to quarter, off trips, losses, et cetera, et cetera. And that's exactly what we're doing here tonight. We got Indiana first quarter -1, fading the Orlando Magic, coming here off a great effort last night on a 3rd and 4 back-to-back. We got Memphis first quarter at the Knicks off of an awful first quarter at Philly in a double revenge game. And of course, we have Brooklyn catching Sacramento off a long trip coming home, with Brooklyn being 0-2 first quarter the last 2 games. The starters should want to come out here, set the tone, and catch them napping. Top 3 plays. Let's dominate. J Money, a pleasure. Close them out.
Let's cash, my guy. Make sure I go follow him on Twitter, man, at Sharks and Sports. You can follow me as well at J Money's Money. It's the Celtics for me, man. Celtics -6, official play versus the Hornets. Let's cash it, man. Let's go 4-0 tonight. One time for the one time. We do this for the people, man, every day. We back tomorrow. Hit the like button, subscribe. We out.